Chris Jericho has already made one Royal Rumble return in his career. Royal Rumble 2012, he made his big return, drawing number 2, coming down and surprising his big rival at the time, Dolph Ziggler, who was forced to be number 1 by Vicky Guerrero by running off and leaving her and joining up with AJ Lee. He came down as a big surprise. Honestly, one of the only times Jericho has ever made a return to WWE, and it had been a surprise. Nobody really saw this coming. It wasn't in any of the sheets. I don't know how they snuck him into the arena or anything that happened. Jericho has been plagued by people knowing that he was coming early in his career with the Y2J. They released the magazine issue when he came back to save the WWE and take on Randy Orton to come back and help out when John Cena was injured, coming back from his long time, time away from the business. They released the magazine issue again with him on the cover saying that he was making his return, and he's never really gotten the true jaw-dropping return. On the Chris Jericho podcast, when he talks about returning to wrestling, he says that when he meets people at autograph signings or at his concerts or in the airports or walking through the malls, his number one question is always, when are you returning to wrestling? And he says his return to wrestling is going to be sooner than you think, and it's going to be a return like nobody has ever returned before. I don't know if that means that we've already seen his return to wrestling since his return to house shows. If you listen to the podcast, he talks about he's the opposite Brock Lesnar, where he doesn't want to be a part of television because he can't be around all the time, but he's told Vince McMahon that he will fill in on house shows when needed. So he's been going around. There was a big sort of pop for him, and I think it was the Birmingham show last weekend. People weren't expecting him to be there, but I could have sworn he's named the shows that he was going to wrestle on his podcast, and that was one of the ones that were there. So when people were tweeting about it, I honestly wasn't really that surprised. But I do know that on Sunday, the day of the Royal Rumble, Chris Jericho is already going to be in Philadelphia. He's basically signed himself up to be the judge moderator in the debate that RF Video is putting on between Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff, debating the Monday Night War, WCW against WWF. Each guy is going to take their case and try to see, which company was the best. We all know that in the end, WCW lost out. I don't know what the real argument is going to be, but I'm guessing this is going to be a hot ticket. Jericho says there's a VIP ticket you can buy if you want to, meet him before the show, this, that, and the other. But, Jericho's in shape. He's been wrestling for Vince on the tours for the past few weeks now. Easily with him being in Philadelphia, Jericho's always been a guy that Triple H or Vince McMahon can rely on to go out there and eat up minutes in a Royal Rumble. He wouldn't be some sort of guy that people are real surprised that is in there if they need somebody to go from the beginning until the end, to try and have a guy in there at all times that somebody thinks actually has a shot to win the Royal Rumble. I could easily see Chris Jericho, being asked at the last minute to join this match to try and put that extra little bit of star power in there. I think there's a little piece of Chris Jericho that loves being in the news, loves being in the limelight. I can remember getting a late night text from my good buddy Mario, who was flying to Pittsburgh last year to be at the Royal Rumble, and he was texting me saying that Chris Jericho just got on his flight. And he was, getting ecstatic that he thought he was the first to know about Chris Jericho making a return. I didn't know about it, but I'm guessing the people of Pittsburgh did because they were promoting it. Chris Jericho was there to do an autograph signing for the car convention, I believe, is what was there in town. So I think that Jericho got a little bit of a smile on his face, being able to tip the hat at the wrestling news sites that were reporting that he was going to return at the Royal Rumble and he was nowhere to be seen. So just because Jericho is in Philadelphia the same day as the Royal Rumble is going to be, and as he said, it's a brisk walk from the Dave & Buster's where the debate is going to be over to where the Wells Fargo Center is. it's still up for debate if Jericho is going to be a part of it. I would love to see it. I'm sure you would too. So we're all hoping for a Chris Jericho return to the Royal Rumble this year.